All right, Smarty Pants. Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Poetry Slam.
Poetry Slam.
Yeah, and guess who we can learn a thing or two from?
Shakespeare.
Frost.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, like the soccer superstar.
The one and only. We'll be exploring some excerpts from Ronaldo, Spiegelblick, and Die Kunst des Poetry Slam. Let's find out what this guy has up his sleeve, besides perfect hair and a six-pack.
Well, the text actually paints a pretty interesting picture of him.
Oh.
It talks about his halftime ritual where he's standing in front of the mirror.
Let me guess. Checking if his hair gel is still in place.
Nope, not quite. He was working on his aura. Imagine being his opponent and looking into his eyes. You'd practically run off the field yourself.
So, like, psychological warfare with his reflection sounds almost as profound as a book of poems. But can we really apply that to Poetry Slam? I mean, we're not up there on stage in jerseys and cleats.
The stage is a kind of mirror, isn't it?
Oh, I see what you mean.
The audience sees everything. Your insecurities, your doubts, everything. Yeah, you're right. You can't hide anything up there.
But unlike in soccer, in Poetry Slam, you have to not only look strong, but also sound smart.
Right. You can't just kick the ball into the goal. You have to juggle words, play with rhymes, deliver metaphors as if they were free kicks. So Poetry Slam is like the Champions League of wordsmiths. But is it really enough to just string together some cool rhymes to blow the jury away?
Rhymes alone don't make a good slam. That's like saying in soccer, you just kick the ball and that's it. You need tactics, strategy, moments of surprise. You have to captivate the audience, move them, make them laugh or cry.
All right, so no breakdancing, but some rhetorical feints and linguistic hooks. Sounds like I have to become a Poetry Slam ninja. But seriously, how can I incorporate this unpredictability into my texts?
Picture this. You're telling a story about your disastrous love life. Instead of drowning in self-pity, you suddenly throw in an absurd comparison. For instance, my love disappeared faster than doner meat on a Saturday night.
Okay, that's definitely unexpected. But does it really work? I mean, people should be moved by my words, not by my bad jokes.
Jokes aren't everything, of course. But humor can be a powerful tool to capture the audience's attention and get your message across more effectively.
Yeah, of course, captivate them. Just like Ronaldo when he scores the winning goal with the bicycle kick. But tell me, what about stage fright? I mean, I'm not a world-class soccer player who stays cool in front of 80,000 spectators.
Yeah.
What if my knees start shaking on stage and I suddenly can't utter a sound?
Stage fright is completely normal. Even Ronaldo gets nervous before important games. The important thing is not to suppress the nervousness, but to transform it into positive energy.
Positive energy. So now I should start doing yoga or chanting mantras on stage.
No, I wouldn't go that far. But try to see the excitement as a driving force, as fuel for your performance. And always remember, the audience is not your enemy, but your accomplice.
Right, they're there to see a good show.
Exactly. They want to be entertained, they want to laugh, cry, think. Give them what they want.
Give them what they want. Easier said than done.
Well, that's where practice and preparation come in. And speaking of preparation...
Oh, yeah, there was something about language being super important in the text, right? Like, Ronaldo trains his body, and we poetry slammers should train our vocabulary?
Precisely.
Great. And I thought I was done with conjugating sane and haben. Now I have to become a poet bodybuilder, too.
It's not that dramatic. But a little brain jogging won't hurt.
So, from couch potato to poetry pro, sounds like a strenuous training plan. But fine, if I have to, I'll torture myself with literary history, as long as I don't end up on the bench of Poetry Slam. But tell me, what about authenticity?
Ah, authenticity.
Do I now have to spill my deepest secrets on stage to win the hearts of the audience?
Authenticity doesn't mean you have to serve your entire life story on a silver platter. It's about standing by your words, finding your own voice, not pretending to be someone you're not.
So no embarrassing confessions, but honest words. Sounds almost like I need to see a Poetry Slam therapist. But seriously, how do I find my own voice? Should I start rummaging through my closet for a suitable outfit or what?
You won't find your voice in your closet, but in your head, in your heart, in your gut. Listen to your feelings. What do you want to tell? What moves you? What makes you angry, happy, sad?
Write about the things that really interest you, that you can't let go of.
Exactly. Those are the things that will resonate with an audience.
So, Poetry Slam is an emotional detox. Sounds almost as therapeutic as a wellness weekend. But seriously, how do I package my emotions so that people don't fall asleep out of boredom?
Emotions are good, but of course you have to stage them. Remember, you're not just an author, but also an actor. You have to bring your texts to life, with your voice, with your facial expressions, with your gestures.
Okay, so Poetry Slam is a one-man show. Sounds almost as elaborate as a Hollywood blockbuster. But tell me, what about criticism? What if the jury throws tomatoes at me after my performance and the people in the audience yawn?
Criticism is part of it. Even Ronaldo is constantly criticized by the media. The important thing is to take the feedback to heart, but not take it personally.
Learn from your mistakes,
Yeah.
polish your texts, keep developing.
That's the spirit.
Okay, so Poetry Slam is a school of life. Sounds almost as educational as a university seminar. But honestly, how do I motivate myself to keep writing new texts and going on stage, even when I'm having a bad day?
The motivation comes from passion. If you're passionate about Poetry Slam, if you love playing with language, telling stories, and touching people, you'll always find new inspiration.
Inspiration. So now I should start meditating or walking through the forest to find the muse.
Meditation and forest walks certainly can't hurt, but you can find inspiration everywhere.
Really everywhere.
Sure, in your everyday life, in your relationships, in your dreams. Be attentive, be curious, be open to new experiences.
Okay, so Poetry Slam is an adventure trip. Sounds almost as exciting as a safari through the jungle.
Yeah.
But tell me, what was your most beautiful experience on stage? Was there a moment when you realized you had the audience completely captivated?
There have been many beautiful moments, but it was particularly touching when a young woman approached me after a performance and told me that my text had spoken from her heart. She had just gone through a difficult time, and my words had given her comfort and strength.
Wow, that's really a great compliment. That's when you know why you do all this, right?
Absolutely. There's no greater feeling than to move people with your words, to make them laugh, cry, think.
True. That's also what Ronaldo wants to achieve with his goals, right?
Basically, yes. Except that in Poetry Slam, we don't shoot balls into the goal, but emotions into people's hearts.
You got that right. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be able to win as many trophies with our words as Ronaldo does with his goals.
Well, we don't need that many trophies, but a little applause and recognition are always nice.
True. But tell me, the text also mentions a book, Poetry Master, Posy Craft, and Seven Tagen. What's that all about? Is it some kind of secret recipe for the perfect slam?
It's supposed to help you improve your stage presence, optimize your texts, and captivate the audience.
So like Poetry Slam for Dummies. Sounds almost as easy as a set of instructions. But honestly, is there really such a thing as a secret recipe for the perfect slam?
There's no secret recipe. But of course, there are techniques and strategies that can help you.
Okay, so Poetry Slam is a craft that can be learned. Sounds almost like I need a toolbox and a blueprint now. But between you and me, what tips would you give to someone who is just starting out with Poetry Slam?
Be brave, be creative, be yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes because that's how you learn. And above all, have fun.
Fun. So should I start telling jokes or making faces while reciting my poems?
No, you should just radiate the joy of doing it.
Okay, so Poetry Slam as a party for the soul. Sounds almost as exuberant as Carnival in Rio. But honestly, what's the most important thing you should bring to a Poetry Slam?
Passion, talent, and a thick skin.
A thick skin. Should I start wearing a suit of armor now?
No, you just have to learn to deal with criticism and not let it discourage you.
Okay, so Poetry Slam as survival training for the soul. Sounds almost as tough as a boot camp. But honestly, what would you advise someone who's afraid of being on stage?
Practice makes perfect. The more often you're on stage, the more confident you'll become.
Okay, so Poetry Slam as a therapy for stage fright. Sounds almost as soothing as a wellness weekend. But in complete confidence, what's the biggest mistake you can make at a Poetry Slam?
The biggest mistake is to pretend and not be authentic.
Okay, so Poetry Slam as a confessional for the soul. Sounds almost as intimate as a diary entry. But honestly, what's the most beautiful thing about Poetry Slam?
The most beautiful thing is the connection with the audience. When you realize that your words touch people, it's an indescribable feeling.
Okay, so Poetry Slam is a love story between poet and audience. Sounds almost as romantic as a candlelit dinner. But back to the book, Poetry Master, Posy Craft, and Seven Tagen. Where can I find that? In the supermarket next to the frozen pizzas.
No, you'll find that book in any well-stocked bookstore or online.
Okay, so Poetry Slam as a secret weapon from the bookshelf sounds almost as magical as a magic potion. But honestly, what would you say to someone who still has doubts about whether Poetry Slam is right for them?
Just try it. Go to a slam, watch videos, read books, write your own texts, and then you'll feel for yourself whether Poetry Slam is your passion or not.
Okay, so Poetry Slam as an adventure trip to the land of words. Sounds almost as exciting as an expedition to the Amazon, but honestly, what's the most important thing you can learn from Poetry Slam?
The most important thing is that words have power. With words, we can touch people, move them, change them, and Poetry Slam gives us the opportunity to discover and use this power.
Okay, so Poetry Slam as superhero training for wordsmiths sounds almost as fantastic as a comic book movie. Well then, dear listeners, grab your pens, get on stage, and let your words conquer the world.
Exactly. And don't forget, Poetry Master Poesy Craft in 7 Togen could be the key to your success.
Right. And with that, we say goodbye to you, dear wordsmiths and poetry junkies. Stay creative, stay curious, and above all, stay tuned. So Poetry Slam is like a mirror, reflecting not just our words, but also our whole selves.
Exactly. And just like Ronaldo controls his image, we as poets can control how we present ourselves on stage.
But Ronaldo's got this whole team of stylists and PR people crafting his image. We poets are kind of on our own, aren't we?
True, but we have something even more powerful, our words.
Our words, huh? So are you saying that words are like our own personal stylists, helping us create the perfect look for the Poetry Slam stage?
Not just the look, but the entire persona. Our words allow us to shape how the audience perceives us.
That's pretty powerful stuff. But how do we make sure our words are sharp enough to really grab the audience's attention?
Well, remember what we talked about earlier, unpredictability. Ronaldo doesn't just rely on speed and power. He uses unexpected moves to throw off his opponent.
Oh, yeah. Those crazy dribbling tricks and feints.
Exactly. And as poets, we can do the same with our words. The source we're looking at today uses this hilarious example. My motivation is like Wi-Fi weak in the morning, strong in the afternoon, and disappears completely at night.
Okay, I have to admit, that's pretty funny. I never thought of comparing motivation to Wi-Fi before.
See? It's unexpected. And that's what makes it memorable. By breaking the audience's expectations, we can create a more engaging and impactful performance.
So it's not just about writing beautiful poetry. It's about strategically using language to surprise and delight the audience.
Absolutely. And that's where a book like Poetry Master can be really helpful. It offers practical advice on how to master these techniques and become a more confident and captivating performer.
Poetry Master, huh? Sounds like a must-read for anyone who wants to step up their Poetry Slam game.
It's definitely worth checking out. But even beyond techniques and strategies, there's something even more fundamental to a successful Poetry Slam performance.
Oh, hey, what's that? Some kind of secret slam mantra.
It's not really a secret, but it's often overlooked. Authenticity. The audience can sense when a performer is truly connected to their words, when they're speaking from the heart.
You mean we can't just fake it?
You can try, but it won't have the same impact. When you're genuinely passionate about what you're saying, it shines through in your performance.
I guess that makes sense. But sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable on stage, to open yourself up to the audience's judgment.
It's definitely a challenge, but that's also part of the beauty of Poetry Slam. It allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, to share our stories and experiences in a way that can be both cathartic and empowering.
Cathartic and empowering.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good recipe for a successful Poetry Slam.
It's certainly a good starting point. But remember, just like Ronaldo keeps practicing and refining his skills, we as poets need to constantly challenge ourselves and push our boundaries.
So no resting on our laurels, even after a killer performance.
Exactly. The world of Poetry Slam is constantly evolving, and so should we.
So Poetry Slam is like revolutionizing the way we think about poetry.
Exactly. It's like bringing poetry down from its ivory tower and giving it back to the people.
But let's be real. How is Poetry Slam different from, just plain old rapping?
Well, in Poetry Slam, there's no music, no beats, just your voice and your words. It's all about raw, unadulterated, spoken word performance.
So it's like a rap without the music.
You could say that. It's about using your voice as an instrument, crafting rhythm and flow with just your words.
Interesting. And what about the impact of all this on literature in general?
Poetry Slam has injected new life into the literary scene. It's introduced fresh perspectives and forms, proving that poetry can be exciting, engaging, and relevant to everyday life.
Like a breath of fresh air for the literary world. So where do we see Poetry Slam going in the future?
The future of Poetry Slam is bright. More and more people are embracing this art form, stages are opening up, and festivals are popping up everywhere. It's like a wildfire spreading across the globe.
That's amazing. So what's your personal take on Poetry Slam?
It's an incredible art form that unites people, entertains, inspires reflection, and moves hearts. It's a powerful way to connect with others and share experiences.
Powerful stuff. And speaking of powerful, let's get back to that book mentioned in the text, Poetry Master Posey Craft in 7 Tagen. It sounds like a secret weapon for aspiring slam champions. Is it really possible to become a poetry master in just 7 days?
I wouldn't say it's a guarantee, but it offers valuable tips and techniques to help you hone your craft, polish your performance, and captivate your audience.
Poetry Slam for Dummies, huh?
Something like that. It's a great resource for anyone starting out or looking to level up their slam game.
So there's no magic formula for creating the perfect slam poem?
Not exactly, but there are definitely strategies and approaches you can learn.
Like what? Spill the beans. What advice would you give someone just starting out in the world of poetry slam?
Be bold, be creative, be yourself. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, and most importantly, have fun.
So it's not just about being serious and profound. We can actually have a good time up there.
Absolutely. The audience feeds off your energy, so if you're enjoying yourself, they're more likely to enjoy the performance.
Gotcha. So what's the most important thing to bring to the poetry slam stage? Besides a killer poem, of course.
Passion, talent, and a thick skin. Remember, not everyone will love your work, and criticism is part of the process.
A thick skin. So should I start wearing a leather jacket on stage?
A metaphorical one. It's about not letting negativity get to you and staying true to your artistic vision.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's about expressing yourself authentically.
Exactly. And speaking of authenticity, remember that book we mentioned? Poetry Master can help you find your unique voice and style.
Sounds like a must-read for any aspiring slam poet. But what about stage fright? Any tips for those pre-performance jitters?
The more you practice and perform, the more comfortable you'll become. Start small, maybe at an open mic night, and gradually work your way up to bigger stages.
Open mic nights, huh? Are those like karaoke for poets?
Sort of. It's a great low-pressure environment to test out new material, get feedback, and build your confidence.
So what's the biggest mistake a slam poet can make?
Trying to be someone you're not. The audience can spot inauthenticity a mile away. Be true to yourself, your voice, and your story, and you'll connect with the audience on a much deeper level.
Okay, so poetry slam is about being real, raw, and relatable.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so powerful and engaging.
And speaking of engaging, what's the most rewarding aspect of poetry slam for you?
It's the connection with the audience, feeling that your words have resonated with them, made them think, laugh, or even cry. It's about sharing something meaningful and creating a shared experience.
Wow, that's beautiful. It sounds like poetry slam is more than just performance. It's a way to connect with others on a deeper level.
Exactly. It's about sharing our stories, our vulnerabilities, and our triumphs. And in doing so, we create something truly special.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. So for all you aspiring poets out there, don't be afraid to step up to the mic and share your voice with the world. And if you're looking for some guidance, check out Poetry Master Posey Craft in 7 Tagen. You might just discover the poetry superstar within.
Exactly, and who knows, maybe we'll see you on stage at the next Poetry Slam.
That's it for this deep dive, folks. Stay creative, stay curious, and keep those words flowing.